What's up, Queen Divas? So I'm going to show you how to dip and package candy apples. I know when I first started making candy apples, I had a hard time having enough candy to cover all of my apples. But don't worry, I'm the DIY Queen Diva, and I'm going to show you. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep updated with me and all of my videos on the weekends. I usually get my baking supplies from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. In this case, these treat bags come from Hobby Lobby. Okay, so this is my candy. Your candy should always feel like liquid. It shouldn't thicken up. It shouldn't get thick or harden too fast. That was one of the biggest issues that I had when I first started making candy apples. Either I didn't have enough candy or my candy got hard too fast and would thicken up too fast. So with me using an electric stove, I use 6 cups of sugar, 3 cups of water. That's right, 3 cups of water, 1 cup of Karo, and of course you boil to 300 degrees. This will, I guarantee you, this will get you over 20 apples per batch without thickening up, without getting hard. Another thing, do not have your stove on sky high. Have it on medium, like in between 5 and 6. No higher than 6. It's going to take a minute for this candy to reach 300 degrees. It'll stay at 200 for a minute, for a long time. So don't turn up that dial. Just leave it where it is in between 5 and 6, no higher than 6. Now you see how I am flawlessly dipping these candy apples with no issues. I mean, when I dip these apples, it's feeling like water. And that's how you want your candy to feel. You don't want it to be too thick. Another issue you can have with having thick candy, the food coloring. You may be using too much food coloring. I'm heavy-handed, but I'm pretty sure the majority of the time, it's because you don't have enough water. So make sure in this, if you're doing over 20 candy apples, and this should get you 24 candy apples per batch. So I know it's going to get you over 20. So 6 cups of sugar, 3 cups of water, 1 cup of Karo. It doesn't matter what brand you use. I use the cheapest brand all the time. So I go to Walmart and have, the Walmart brand sugar and corn syrup. I use Karo a lot, but I use Walmart too. So as you see, I'm dipping these apples and I'm just scraping them off. I mean, it didn't take long at all to get all of these candy apples dipped. After I dip these light pink candy apples, I am going to dip another color and do the same thing. So just watch. So the key is 6 cups of sugar, 3 cups of water, 1 cup of Karo, and I also put my flavoring at the beginning. Believe it or not, I do, because I always forget to add it if I decide to wait when it reaches 280 degrees. So I add everything at the beginning, including color. I want to know what color my candy apples will come out looking like. So I add all of my color, I add all of my sugar, all of my water, all of my corn syrup, and all of my flavoring at the beginning, and I never have any issues. So if you're having issues with covering more than 6 candy apples, just follow this recipe and I guarantee you, you won't have any issues after this. If you have any questions, make sure you You leave those questions down below so I can answer those questions. So let's go ahead and finish dipping these apples, and then I'm going to show you how to package your apples. Now look at this candy. It's boiling hot. I give it a few seconds to rest, but I don't have time. I need to get these apples dipped. You see how this looks like water? Make sure your candy is fluid-like. Using this recipe, 6 cups of sugar, 3 cups of water, and 4 cups of water won't hurt. 1 cup of corn syrup, and 1 tablespoon of your flavoring. Yes, 1 tablespoon, because you're using pretty much a double batch here. I usually don't use this certain pot. I always use a heavy bottom pot with a handle. I mean, this has a handle, but it's not the handle to grab. So just make sure your pot is a heavy bottom pot and has a handle. So I'm using 2 different colors. So this is why I am using this pot right here for this color. This is a heavy bottom pot also, but it's not the straight handle, but it'll work. It's my Emerald Lagasse pot, so it'll work. Another thing, when you're placing your candy apples down, make sure you have enough room in between the candy apples. You do not want these candy apples to touch one another, or you're going to have another issue. So when I package these candy apples, after I dip, they're pretty much cooled down enough to go ahead and put in the bag. I place my candy apples after I dip. Every last candy apple, I go ahead and place my candy apples in the bags. You see, I'm not having any issues placing my candy apples in the bag after dipping. Make sure your house is 65 degrees or below. I know my family hates when I have the house so cold, but I don't have any issues with my candy apples sticking to the bag. So as soon as I finish the last candy apple, I go ahead and place my candy apples in the bags. So that's what I'm doing right now, is placing every last one in the bag. Now you know how sticky fondant is. So I'm going to grab a candy apple with fondant on it and show you how important it is to have your house, have it at least 70 degrees. If you can't take 65, make sure it's at least 70 degrees or below. But I do 65. Now look here. I have this sticky fondant. It's not sticking. The fondant is not sticking to the bag. The candy apple is not sticking to the bag. So it's so important to have your house 65 degrees and below. I have some pre-cut tulle. Like I said, I usually get all of my supplies from Hobby Lobby or Michaels. In this case, I got this tulle pre-cut from Michaels. It was on clearance for $5. So I have the hot pink and the light pink. I'm going to use both And here's a look at the packaging. So if you want to go to Michael's and grab some. To the right of me, I have already packaged my candy apples and just made bows. I just tied it in a bow just to make it look a little more decorative, besides using the twist tie. So I just tied it in a bow. But with this, I'm going to make a little tutu. So I have a pink, a light pink and a hot pink. I'm using my silicone mold because this is the smallest square thing that I have around. You can use anything that you want. Make sure you leave a little tool out and then wrap it around and then pull it off. Get your twist ties. I got these twist ties from Hobby Lobby. Here's the Hobby Lobby brand for $1.99. So I got these from Hobby Lobby. So once you pull your tool off, and there's so many ways to make these little tutus. You can either put the twist tie in and tie it right now in the back where the extra length is hanging. Or you can just go ahead and cut it at the circle part. You can just go ahead and cut the tool and then put your twist tie around. It's so many ways to do this. I mean, it's no wrong way. And I'm trimming my tool down to make sure it's not going everywhere, just to make it even, to make it pretty. So I am tying my twist tie around, and then I'm going to twist it in the back and then wrap this around my candy apple. After I wrap it around my candy apple and tie it on the candy apple, then I just fluff out the tool. So right now I am just twisting the tie in the back. I grab my candy apple and I just use my twist tie to tie around the candy apple stick. And then I just fluff. And I need to trim my tool some more. I'm just fluffing it out. You can make your tutus small, medium, big, however you want to. So I'm just fluffing. Okay, here's my candy apple. It's a little cute candy apple. You can use these like for baby showers, little girl parties. So I am wrapping my tool around the silicone mold. Again, you can use whatever you have. I make sure I leave a little end of tulle on each end. I pull it off the mold. In this case, I will go ahead and use my twist tie to go ahead and put the twist tie in the back. And just tie it by twisting the tie. I am going to go ahead and trim those ends and cut the middle of the circle. I grab my candy apple and I place the tool around the candy apple stick, and then I trim and fluff accordingly. Okay, so I'm done. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep updated with me on the weekends. And don't forget to tell your family and friends about my channel. Bye-bye.